My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is January 10th, 2024. It is 2:45 a.m. So this is my back end. 3,690 subscribers. My estimate revenue, 252.19 cents. Let's see my analytic. Right, 5,234 views in the last 48 hours. There's the estimate and there's the subscription, 3,690. So this video here, this was like 2 minutes. I only put it to show you, so I will be going over it on this video because I have it on the list. It might be the first one actually. So let's go on Twitter. Yeah, there it is here. Okay, did she lie? Okay, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm sorry, there'll be some screenshot, but the main thing is listen. Okay, the GOP is intentionally dumbing down our electorate, erasing history so that past can become prologue. Okay, so let's listen. Nothing she says here is new to me because I've been seeing these things. But the thing with her is that she explained it in a much better English and a more so people could understand much better. Me, I go around the bush and explain, give examples and all that, but she explained it to the point. All right, so let's listen.
In 2016, when Joe Biden issued that video, 2020 rather, and he said, "I'm running to save the soul of this country," it resonated with me in a way that I never thought it would. And that's how he got my vote, as everybody knows. Because I can, switch around candidates that I like or not. And when I listen to "We're going to save our democracy," I start thinking, well, unfortunately, you didn't really save the soul of this country because we're more divided now than we ever were. And I start thinking, well, then our democracy is really at risk. So those two things can exist at the same time, right? So stay with me here. What we're seeing by the Republican Party, and I give it to them, we're seeing a long game.
That's right.
We're seeing
that's been going on since the Civil War. They've been at it, chopping. If somebody come to you and say point blank at your face, "This is what I'm gonna do," it's gonna shock you. Then you're gonna react. But instead, they sneak around the bush, pretend, and they chop. They make you focus on one thing. Meanwhile, they're doing something completely different.
Ever see that movie Up? That Disney movie? Right, remember that's dog and the dog's talking and then squirrel.
Yep.
And they turn and
so that I may talk. Squirrel.
that's us. That's us with politics.
The shiny object that they always throw for you guys to distract you.
You desired squirrel.
So whenever they say squirrel, okay, they stop. And then they use the same tactic as the UK, the race, the this, the that, they even use the freaking religion, the Bible, to blind people. It's no different than the UK. All right, so she's spot on. But these things have been going on for a very long time, and this is why they hate the word woke. When people are awakened, they realize this is the nonsense that has been going on. They use different tactics after different tactics. In other videos, I've said, like in the 80s, they used the AIDS pandemic to paralyze you so you can't go out and vote and do important things. So they paralyzed you. They put liquor stores in every neighborhood to keep people drunk, so you don't pay attention to what they're doing while they're removing your rights from you. So now, after President Obama, they pretty much say, F it, we're just gonna go full blown and do the things that we wanna do. Dumb down people. And the thing we need to be very careful right now with what's going on with Trump. There was an argument, what is it, the appeal court, regarding if Trump had full immunity because of the nonsense that he did while he was in office.
It is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
If he has full immunity, the Supreme, not Supreme Court, the judges of appeal raised some very key point.
Order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival. That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
What if he weren't? There would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is
no. My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate. In these exceptional cases, as the OLC memo itself points out from the Department of Justice, you'd expect a speedy impeachment and conviction. But what the founders were much more worried about than using criminal prosecution to discipline presidents was what James Madison calls in Federalist Number 47, the newfangled and artificial treasons. They were much more concerned about the abuse of the criminal process for political purposes to disable the presidency from factions and political opponents. And of course, that's exactly what we see in this case.
Based on questions of separation of powers, of constitutional text, history, precedent, is there, in fact, immunity for a former president? We think the answer to that is no, for of course, all of the reasons we put in the brief, and I'm happy to sort of address here. Candidly, I think if the court gets to that second question, there are some hard questions about the nature of official acts. And frankly, as I think Judge Pan's hypothetical described, I mean, what kind of world are we living in if, as I understood my friend on the other side to say here, a president orders his SEAL team to assassinate a political rival and resigns, for example, before an impeachment? Not a criminal act. President sells a pardon, resigns, or is not impeached? Not a crime. I think that is extraordinarily frightening future, and that is the kind of, we're talking about a balancing and a weighing of the interests. I think that should weigh extraordinarily heavily in the court's consideration.
Okay, so what it seems like, okay, we need to be very careful. What it seems like, if he become president, he's not done with. Just keep that in mind. Let me finish with that. Let me just stop now. Let's continue. All right. So we need to pay attention.
That they are dismantling or attempting to dismantle institutions. All of a sudden, the most elite colleges and universities in the world, which, by the way, they all went to.
Okay. What she says here, it started the minute that they integrated, where Black people could go to the same school as white and all of that, and then they remove their kids from the public school, they create private school, and then they start dismantling the public school. Okay, there's so many things that used to be for school, like driving. Okay, at 16 they used to teach you driving. There used to be all sort of after school program. There was wood shop, there were sports things. I don't know if every public school have that, but they make it so difficult. They defund, they remove money, and then each time the schools try to survive, they remove the things that we could do without, like the sports, the things that will keep kids out of trouble once school ends. Okay, because they said that studies have shown that young people get in trouble between the time from 3 o'clock till 6 p.m. Okay, this is right after school, before their parents come home and do the, to look after them. So they remove all of these after school program. Kids get in trouble, they jail them, now they become part of the system. It's a whole system that they all connected to things. We just need to pay attention. Okay, so she's spot on. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but if you want to see the entire thing without me talking, go watch that other video. I just put screenshot occasionally, but you hear everything that she's saying without me interrupting.
Everybody in the Supreme Court went there. Elise Stefanik went there. All the Congress people went there. Ted Cruz went there. Those schools are not good enough anymore because now people that don't look like them were getting in. Affirmative action, no more. Why? So that people that don't look like them don't get in. Women don't have reproductive rights anymore over their own bodies. Why? So they can have power over women. Why?
Go watch that video on PYTE. And that video, okay, this is actually, I'm glad this is where there's short videos like this. Or maybe this one I could, because it's more than a minute. Okay, these two videos that I put right next to it, it's on PYTE. Go watch them. It talks about exactly the point that she's talking, Sunny Haston is talking right now. Okay,
over their own bodies. Why? So they can have power over women. Why is French and Mandarin and Spanish being taken away from our public schools? So that we can be a monolingual society and can't compete globally. We, the Republicans, are intentionally dumbing down our electorate, erasing history. So
look what's happening in Florida, for instance. There's a lot of teachers that quit in Florida. They go someplace else. And there's something that's going on. I believe it's Ohio, where I think the people voted against, that abortion bill that the Republican put or something like that. I was watching something and they made reference to it, and they refused to listen to the people's voice. So you think this was about black and white? It was never about black and white. They just use black people as an excuse to get you angry. But at the end of the day, they just want to control you. They just want to control you. All right, so let's continue.
So that past can become prologue, and so they can remain in power.
That's it.
And it's grievance politics at its best.
Since some of you may not be watching the screen as I put this screenshot, what grievance politics is defined by the fueling and funneling of negative emotions and various blame-based political strategies which explicitly challenge and confound many of the core principles and values that have traditionally underpinned conventional conception of party politics. I've raised this so many times, especially in the UK, what we see going on. So let me not get into UK politics right now. So this is what is at stake right now in the US. Okay, so let's get back to the original recording. So I just wanted to read the meaning of grievance politics that Sunny had mentioned. It was never about black and white. They just use black people as an excuse to get you angry. But at the end of the day, they just want to control you. They just want to control you. All right, so let's continue.
So that past can become prologue, and so they can remain in power.
That's it.
And it's grievance politics at its best, and it's because people see what Sarah was saying. I can't pay my electric bill. My gas bill's high. I need my food. And why is that?
Okay, this is the same thing that going on in the UK. All right, so there she is explaining it much clearer, better English than I am. I've raised this question so many times, or hypothetically speaking of things, I've raised them up. There she is explaining it. It's happening in the US as well. And I used to say the same thing that's happening in the UK, it's happening in the US. But at least the only difference is Americans are fighting. But unfortunately for the UK, it seems like they're okay with it. It seems like. I don't know. Okay, not all. So I don't know. People need to wake up around the world, not just in the US or in the UK, around the globe. And unfortunately, Palestine is too late for many of them because a lot have lost their lives. Okay, everything was written on the wall. There's another video that I came across. If I find it, I'll put it. They asked this old white woman, but they asked her a question about what's going on, and she gave a clear, precise, to the point answer of exactly what's going on. Because what's happening here is that they're removing European, removing indigenous people, the people of the land from their respective continent, respective countries. They're removing the original people from there, and then they're putting their nonsense. And in one video on PYTE, I remember there are a couple things that I raised. And I said different part of the globe, you see different shade of skin tone that come from different part of the globe. But especially like in South America. Just look at the screen because I still have that screenshot and I will share it with you. In South America, the shades that should be coming from there, it's not what it is. You seeing white people coming out of there. It's just that there's something going on. They did it sneakily. We did not realize it. But what's coming out of there, it's not what it should have been. And when you look at, and I talk about religion, different part of the world, different part of the globe, this is what kept the world balanced. Because each of these, how do they call this? The original people, who were from the land, they know how to take care of the land. They respect it. They have their own religion. It balanced things out. But what's happening here, the group that feel like they should be in control, they should be the only one, they're putting their nonsense. Look what's going on in the Middle East right now, Palestine. There's trouble. It's not balanced. Okay, so I went beyond. It's like some of the things that I've said I put here. But yeah, these things are not new to me. All right, so I might play this all over without me talking, but let's finish it.
Is my station in life like this? It's because that black guy got into Harvard and became president. Or it's because that immigrant is over there doing better than driving a nicer car than I'm driving. It's
okay. This is the thing here when it comes to election that I keep on pointing out in the UK. What I've realized, whenever election come up, they start saying immigrants is coming, it's taking this, it's taking that. But who's in control in the UK? Who is in full control in the UK? It's the elite people. So they're scaring you to make you believe this is what's happening. Meanwhile, they're sending their troops in those people's homeland, burning them down, chasing them, and killing them. Where do these people supposed to go? Okay, they're not fish. They cannot live in water. So they need land to survive. But they're chasing them out. Okay? Oh, Lord.
It's grievance politics, but culture wars specific. And I wish people could see it in that way, because this
is the... I know, I understand when Sunny is saying that. I wish people could see it because I see it. I've been seeing it. And I think YouTube realize I see exactly what they're trying to do, and they don't want me to explain to you in my own way what I see is happening. Okay? So... This is why I like this very much, because she explained it very well. I'm going to play it over. All right, it's 2 seconds left.
This is not by accident.
All right, so let me play it all over again. Hopefully, I don't have anything to say. Let's listen.
In 2016, when Joe Biden issued that video, 2020 rather, and he said, "I'm running to save the soul of this country." It resonated with me in a way that I never thought it would. And that's how he got my vote, as everybody knows. Because I can, you know, switch around candidates that I like or not. And when I listen to "We're going to save our democracy," I start thinking, well, unfortunately, you didn't really save the soul of this country because we're more divided now than we ever were. And I start thinking, well, then our democracy is really at risk. So those two things can exist at the same time, right? So stay with me here. What we're seeing by the Republican Party, and I give it to them, we're seeing a long game. We're seeing that they are dismantling or attempting to dismantle institutions. All of a sudden, the most elite colleges and universities in the world, which, by the way, they all went to. Everybody in the Supreme Court went there. Elise Stefanik went there. All the Congress people went there. Ted Cruz went there. Those schools are not good enough anymore because, I think, because now people that don't look like them were getting in. Affirmative action, no more. Why? So that people that don't look like them don't get in. Women don't have reproductive rights anymore.
The other thing, I'm sorry I pause here, exclusivity. This is what they want. The same thing that the royal family want, exclusivity. They want to be the only one to to make it seem like it's a rare thing that you cannot obtain only by blood or by your skin color or status or something like that. Okay, exclusivity. This is what they aiming for. Now there's Megan who came in over there and saw the trashy thing that was going on and said F it. She didn't say that. And then leave. They got pissed. They were like, we're so exclusive. You should have been, dying to becoming part of us. You should be worship of us and all of that. And Megan was like, nope, sorry. All right. So I'm sorry I paused, but I will try not to say anything.
With their own bodies. Why? So they can have power over women. Why is French and Mandarin and Spanish being taken away from our public schools so that we can be a monolingual society and can't compete globally? We, the Republicans, are intentionally dumbing down our electorate, erasing history so that past can become prologue and so they can remain in power. And it's grievance politics at its best, and it's because people see what Sarah was saying. I can't pay my electric bill. My gas bill's high. I need my food. And why is that? Why is my station in life like this? It's because that black guy got into Harvard and became president. Or it's because that immigrant is over there doing better than driving a nicer car than I'm driving. It's grievance politics, but culture wars specific. And I wish people could see it in that way because this is not by accident.
And then they deprive people from things. They take things away from you, and then for you to be begging for it, and then once they give it to you, to feel like, they are God. Meanwhile, like I've said in some other videos, air, water, and all of these are things that God gave us for free, but these people deprive each other from it. All right, let me read some of the comments here. Not all, but maybe just these two. Okay, she's 100%. Anybody not voting Democrat is completely blind, and by the time they finally have to acknowledge that they made a mistake, it'd be too late. Okay, nope. All right. Let's see these here. Okay, the most well-articulate explanation of the current risk to democracy I've heard. That's exactly that. She explained it very well. Zero lie detected, clear as a bell. Okay, she didn't lie. The same game played for generation. That's it. Yes. And we have to be very careful. Let's say, okay, right now, the Republican, I'm talking about the U.S. right now. The Republicans are not hiding anymore. Okay, we see what they're trying to do. But in the long run, because we've seen some of them done that already, they pretend to be Democrats. And then once they get in office, they switch. So there has to be something here for those who do that. Okay? So we need to pay attention for those who, especially if they have already been in office, look at their past history. Look at how they vote for things. At some point, being a Democrat or Republican will not mean anything. It's just that, especially if they've been in office already, see how they have voted. Okay? Then you could go based on that, if they align with you. Okay, the same gameplay for generation. This is nothing new. Just always been ignored. That's it. Not just ignore. They keep us occupied with problems. Okay, you can't pay your bills. You have to work several jobs to pay your bills. Meanwhile, they're taking things away from you. You don't even know because you're too busy, trying to keep up with your bills. And then many of us need to learn to keep things simple. Be simple. You see someone with a multi-million-dollar car or house, okay, you could work hard for it. I'm not saying don't work hard for it, but don't kill yourself to have it. Okay, do the things that needs to be done so you could live life. Okay, and because white are the majority in the US and have always been, it's damn near impossible to come back. If you're already giving up, I'm sorry. So until they want one nation for all, it's uphill battle for all minorities in the US. So if this is what we have to do, we're gonna have to do it. Okay, no, not a word. All right, let's see. One. Okay, I cannot see the comment here. Okay, wake up. Whites are no longer the majority in the US. That's why they are trying to eliminate democracy. Listen again and take a note. That's it. That's why. What is it? There was a census, I think, during Trump was there. They did something to it where they put false information. I don't know why nobody went back and tried to correct about the census. All right, so let's go to the next tweet. Oh my god, I spent a long time on this. I'm probably gonna have a long video. Maybe I might divide it into two. I'm already 20 minutes. So there's the next tweet here. I didn't listen to it. I don't know if it's something that I've heard before. And but let's see here. It started here. All right. The statement, Harry betrayed William. So I'll come to that, but it started here. This is 1:40, and this one 1:50:49. Okay, and our latest episode, Tina Brown tells Andrew Lonnie and Phil McKay, right? Is that what the name? Phil Craig. Okay, the M came in between. Okay, Phil Craig, that Prince Andrew's money problem and a lifetime of bad judgment led him to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so let me see here. This is why I say sometimes when royals go to school, colleges, they should go to finance or business, because it seems like they don't know how to manage money. Why? Because they always have money coming in, so there's no reason for them to learn to manage it. So they need to learn how to do that. All right, so let's listen here. Harry knew because they deprive him, so he learned. All right, so let's listen.
And I mean, the case of Andrew, unfortunately, he had that. He's very dumb. And all of his life he's been told, he's interesting or intelligent or all the things we know he isn't. So
what is it? There's a video that I have where I believe this person was a spy for Israel. That's what he claimed. I don't know if it's true. And he said that it's something used for idiot. That's what he said. Andrew used to bring more people for Epstein. All right, so they call him used for idiot. But okay, let's continue.
He has no judgment at all about himself. And he just, he's got the worst judgment. And he's always felt he doesn't have enough money. And
the other thing, the worst judgment, I believe that. Because if he had understood what he did, how bad it is regarding the Virginia Guthrie thing here, I would be in hiding. But for some reason, since they pay off the money, it seems like he wants to be in the public again. You had the Queen try to get him accepted to the public by having him walk her down the aisle for something that was going on in the UK. And then they bring out the priest to come and talk, try to change people's mind and all of that. It seems like he doesn't have any judgment at all, and he wants to be back in people's face. Instead, especially after you got off this crazy thing, instead of hiding and enjoy yourself in your multi-million-dollar mansion, but he wants to be in people's face. And then during the Christmas walk, I come across a video, those people, those royalists standing out there waiting for them. And he was like, I don't understand why you guys are waiting, which is true, by the way. But he doesn't know how to be humble. Instead of saying thank you and, try to be humble, pretend you didn't do anything wrong, but at the same time respect the people who still for you. And they give him a flower, he brushed it off. But let's continue.
May ask, well, he seems to have a very nice house and, you know, certainly a decent stipend, and people would kill for it. However, you know, he's constantly in circles with people who have a lot more, and it just rankles with them that they don't have the freedom. It's also pretty demeaning to be so infantilized as he was, where he has to ask his brother, he has to ask his mother. I mean, what men of 50s and 60s, you know, could tolerate the way they have to go cap in hand to their own families for sort of their stipend or to the government? I mean, not having your own money is a very humiliating thing.
Well, this is what they wanted for Harry too. This is what they want for Harry too, but Harry was smart enough and get the hell out of there, and he chose someone who was very smart that could help him on the outside as well. Oh my goodness.
But they have trust funds. I mean, you know.
Oh,
they do, but those trust funds are usually very tied up and very administered, and it's a stipend. It's like, you know, it's not. It's something we'd all love, right? But from their point of view, they're mixing in circles where people have much more money, have private planes, have all these things, have freedom, and it just rankles. I mean, you see it with them again and again.
Even with the trust fund, the way, you know, they're moving around, that trust fund will be evaporate in seconds. They will finish it in seconds.
Case of Andrew, you know, he's very naive. I mean, he was bedazzled essentially by the whole Jeffrey Epstein world. I mean, this big time financier who paid attention to Andrew as if he was important and had dinner parties in his big house in New York and invited all these sort of people that Andrew could never have met on his own. So he was
So let's continue here. Okay, so this is the one that I bookmarked. The statement Harry betrayed William is a classic case of perpetrator-victims reversal. In reality, William, in collaboration with the toxic British media, did everything to break Meghan, drive her out of the country, and potentially separate Harry from his support number one. All right, so let's listen. This is 1 minute and 49 seconds.
It isn't one of the tropes that actually it's women coming into the royal family, whether it's Queen Mother or Kate or Camilla, who are not necessarily royal, who are the ones who, in a sense, make their partners feel loved and actually bring a little bit of common sense. And they've been the ones who have been popular, actually.
Well, that's true. And obviously, Kate has been the most remarkable success and is a huge, huge asset to William. But what Harry brought, and when I was researching the Palace Papers, I got this from some very close people to William. Harry also was a great help to William in his prior days because he was the kind of, you know, he was the best friend. He was the person that William could talk to without any inhibitions. The only other person on the planet who'd gone through what William had gone through. It gave them a special kind of secret society almost. So
that's what Harry thought. I agree with her. That's what Harry thought. And many times, there's so many times Harry could have thrown William under the bus, but he never did. Especially during the Obama Foundation interview with Melody Hobson. Okay, he could have thrown William under the bus on 2 separate occasions in terms of who creates certain thing, and he ignored it, or he said he doesn't know. All right, go watch that video. It's on Obama's YouTube channel. All right, so let's continue.
So, and he could laugh at William, and it would bring William out of his rather serious, sort of sometimes pompous self. Not having anyone to prick that bubble in his life, as Harry used to do, I think, I mean, his people close to him feel that's a loss for William. And you can only imagine, given that they had this wonderful kind of solidarity about what they both shared and their hatred of the press, how traumatic it was for William to then find that Harry, of all people, had become the person to spill all the beans and to, you know, take all that stuff to the media and you know, air their dirty laundry.
But there's a huge but. This is where I disagree with her here. It forces Harry to do that because of past experience of his mother, because Harry was willing to help William, but William went behind his back and backstabbed him.
Much of the negativity towards the couple is coming from within the royal family. The royal family and staff of the royal family are the ones that are very often leaking these stories to the press.
How traumatic it was for William to then find that Harry, of all people, had become the person to spill all the beans and to, you know, take all that stuff to the media and you know, air their dirty laundry.
The press and the media. And as they say at the start of episode 1, they say so many books and shows and stories have been written about us. We wanted to have our own say. And remember, the purpose of the PR office at the royal family is to keep the royals in the press all the time. So you have to remember, when I work in newsrooms, it's a fact that every anti-Harry and Meghan story comes from Kensington Palace.
But why haven't...
And if it comes from Kensington Palace,
Right. Why haven't...
and if it comes from Kensington Palace,
Right.
why are they briefing against their own grandson?
Well, okay, that's a very... The idea...
Why are there never any
Well, I think that's
stories
fascinating.
about Prince William?
Were
Jeremy?
William and Kate involved in briefing against them originally? I don't know.
Have been, as we know, is that the Mail on Sunday had the ruling against them in February, and they were then appealing it. So it was lawyers from the Mail on Sunday who would have approached Jason Naff, knowing that these emails and messages existed. That would have been the point. And unless, I mean, the most likely outcome is that Jason obviously would have then gone to William and Kate, and clearly he has cooperated.
How traumatic it was for William to then find that Harry, of all people, had become the person to spill all the beans and to, you know, take all that stuff to the media and you know, air their dirty laundry.
He would not have cooperated
with
those lawyers without their definite knowledge.
You just explain, what was the significance on the witness statement from Ed Verity, better known as Ted Verity?
Ted Verity, the editor of the Mail on Sunday, said in his signed witness statement that he had been given information that helped support Associated's case. He said this information came from a senior palace source.
How traumatic it was for William to then find that Harry, of all people, had become the person to spill all the beans and to, you know, take all that stuff to the media and you know, air their dirty laundry.
And he said in his witness statement, this was, quote, not gossip or tittle-tattle.
What does that mean?
What it means is that a senior figure in the royal household,
William and Kate,
according to the Mail on Sunday, was passing him information in order to help defeat the Duchess's case.
So, again, one of the reasons why I wrote this book is every word in that book is mine. And I realised that especially...
What do you mean by that?
Because the amount of unnamed sources that have fed information to the British tabloids about me and my wife.
And remember, the purpose of the PR office at the royal family is to keep the royals in the press all the time. So you have to remember, when I work in newsrooms, it's a fact that every anti-Harry and Meghan story comes from Kensington Palace.
My family.
You have a source,
true
and it's you.
And not true. I am the source of that book.
Do you not remember?
Try to separate him with his wife and did all of this, so it pushes Harry's hand to do what he did. So let's not forget about that.
Absolutely traumatic for him, which is why, to get back to your earlier question, it's not easy for William to accept Harry back in the family. I think that he is very, very wounded, and his father will want him back, but I just don't know whether William will ever have the trust. And if you don't have the trust, it's very hard to have someone like that back into the family fold.
But it's William who started from the beginning. Look at the lawsuit Meghan was dealing with. Okay, William got himself into this nonsense, bring his, Jason Knauf to testify against Harry's wife. What does William have to do with that? Let's not forget all of this. None of this would have happened if they just left Meghan alone.
Because the amount of unnamed sources that have fed information to the British tabloids about me and my wife and my family.
You have a source,
true
and it's you.
And not true. I am the source of that book.
If they just left Meghan alone, but instead they so greedy, they wanted Harry to be a miserable person so they could abuse him and shift all blames to Harry. So now that Harry finds someone who he wants to raise a family, okay? Harry cannot raise a family with William. William already had his. Okay? I don't know. They probably wanted Harry to share the wife, whatever, but Harry wanted his own. He had his own life. He had his own principle, his own ideas. But they wanted him to stay there, be miserable, be the third wheel, and then once Harry finds someone for himself, William tried to mess it up. So at one point, when does Harry said enough is enough? These people will never learn. I'm surprised she even said this thing like that. Oh my Lord, let me see here. At Tina Brown, the times are changing. Several subjects maintaining a bloodline of mediocre, unaccomplished, propped-up royals is becoming a thing of the past. Average, hardworking people who struggle weeks to weeks.
It isn't one of the tropes.
Okay, weeks to weeks are far more significant than Charles and William. Graham Smith, she tagged that person, or he. Okay, William was the first to deliberately sabotage Harry. Thank you. Thank you. She forgot that part. Okay, Harry sustained so much. And then, let's not forget, they told, while the tabloid was saying all this BS, they told Meghan to shut her mouth, not to say a damn thing. But how much can a person take? How much can a person take? Okay, William was the first to deliberately sabotage Harry and Meghan with unflattering leaks to the media about them. The royal family is like Trump gaslighting all the way. Yeah. Okay. If he had abused a child like Uncle Andy or some of the nuns in that family, they would gladly embrace him, but he rejected the family lies and scapegoating, and that's unforgivable. Sexual predators are coddled and protected. It's a family tradition. That's so very British. Okay, if anyone wants to talk, if anyone wants to talk about the great rift between William and Harry, they need to start at the beginning and try to understand why the Sussexes left.
Do you see any scenario by which Harry and Meghan overshadow Kate and William?
Yes, I do. I mean, this is immediately was my first thought. You know, this could be a problem.
They need to start at the beginning and try to understand why the Sussexes left.
I was called by the Sun newspaper. If you don't know what the Sun is, it's sort of got the topless girl on page 3. That's all you need to know. And they called me about a month ago to ask if I'd write about how Meghan was like Wallace and how Meghan was going to destroy the royal family.
Meghan, how do you feel about being part of two broken families?
And how Meghan was going to destroy the royal family, and the arguments between Meghan and Kate, and I said, I'm really sorry, I'm just not privy to all of this. I don't think I could do it. And the commissioning editor was really twisting my arm to write this article and say, but you could say, couldn't you, that X happened, and you could say that she's fired all her staff, and you could say that Kate has said this.
You know, this could be a problem.
And I said, well, I'm really sorry, I don't know that, I can't do it. And this conversation went on for about half an hour, and I didn't write the article, but it just gives you an insight into how this whole thing is being, you know, the flames are being fanned by the media.
I am the source of that book.
There is no point in going on to what Harry did after. Thank you. William betrayed Harry first. That's the thing. Okay? I didn't even read these comments. That's exactly that. William started it. And let's look at, for instance, like I said already, Meghan's lawsuit. What caused the lawsuit? Why did they intercept? Who was the one who was telling Meghan to do certain things and then intercept the letters and do all of this? And then at the end, still within the court system, he sent his people to try to interfere, to sabotage the case. My goodness, it wasn't too long. They're trying to rewrite history right in front of us. Oh my Lord. Hello, let's go. But what does it take? Okay, so let's go to the next tweet. Oh my goodness. Right in front of our face, they're trying to change history. We forgot all the thing that William did, but saying the part where Harry is doing his own thing. All right, so this is completely different now.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.